opportunities to move back into the fourth round today, or you pretty much kind of entered the day design that was what?
Yeah. Quite frankly, we entered, the board was really strong and didn't feel we needed to move up, so we kind of just, stuck. The numbers were good. So.
Ryan, was that a hard weight, though? I mean, that was a 75-pick gap.
Yes. Yeah, historically here, we've always tried not to have those gaps just because it's tough to watch all those good players come off the board. So yeah, it was a long wait, but again, I said our numbers were strong, which was nice.
Brian, I'm just curious, how far back do you go into a player's football film history? I mean, obviously the college tape is.
Yeah.
Do you do any research? I mean, to find out like these guys were, in 8th grade, this guy was a phenom. I'm just curious.
In the days of YouTube and the internet and stuff, there's always these clips that some of our scouts pull up. When I started, we weren't doing that. Not really. Obviously, we concentrate mostly on, the previous season. There's always times where you'll go back for a specific reason. Our area scouts obviously have been watching these guys since they stepped on campus. Do we ever go back to high school and those kind of things? Very rarely, if at all. Certainly, there's been some junior college tape that we've gone through and stuff, trying to, a guy might have returned kicks and punts in junior college, didn't do it for his university. So there's been times like that just to watch him. But you go back as far as you need to make a decision. But usually it's really based on that last year.
I was just curious because I was talking to a parent of one of the guys you drafted, and he just said, when my kid was 6 years old playing flag football, somebody told me this guy's going to be an NFL player.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously people say a lot of strange things.
Yeah, my nine-year-old was 3 for 3 yesterday. So the Brewers, you've been want to get on him with that. So
Brian, in the last 12 months with last year's draft and free agency this year, and now this draft, how much do you feel you've done to remake this defense?
Excuse me. I feel really good. Right now. I talked about it a little bit yesterday. These guys got to come together as a team, and that takes a lot of work and a lot of time. I'm excited about Mike Pettin and the second-year guys that we have in his system. But the additions we've made, I think we're very optimistic about what these guys can do.
Along those lines, what do you think of your rush after all the moves you've made? And do you think, could Gary end up actually being more of an inside rusher than outside?
I think I've talked about the versatility. I think his speed off the edge is unique, but kind of like Z, I think he's going to be a matchup problem wherever he lines up. I think if he's single blocked, as he learns the NFL game, as he progresses, I think where you line him up, he'll be a matchup problem. So I think he can do it all.
And you put a lot of money and really high draft pick into that area. How do you feel about your rush right now? Where you think it is?
Yeah, again, and I know you guys watched us last year. Mike's big on moving pieces and stuff like that, and I thought we needed to get a lot more pieces for him to move around. They're going to have to come together. There's a lot of timing involved in it, different kind of things. But I feel much better now than I did previously.
With Dexter Williams, how concerning is the suspension and the fact that, here's his mom who's sick as can be, and she feels the need to come up to help rescue her son now?
Yeah, obviously we thoroughly vet all these guys and try to get to a point. We felt very comfortable with Dexter. He very much, his skill set fits what Matt wants to do in the run game. He's had some dynamic moments at Notre Dame, and a lot of these guys have some missteps along the way, but we felt good about where he's at in his progression.
Was the arrest in 2016 what led to the suspension, even though it was 2 years later?
Yeah, I'm not going to go into the specific details. I don't think that's fair to Dexter or University of Notre Dame and things like that. But like I said, we take that pretty seriously around here, and we vetted it, and we feel good about the person.
I'm sure a lot of these phone calls are memorable for you, but given what Dexter and his family's kind of been going through, anything more special with this bad situation?
Yeah, I think it's, all of them are pretty special for these guys. I mean, it's a very special thing to be drafted in the National Football League. Guys react differently, but it's always special to give a guy an opportunity. Usually I'm handing the phone off pretty quick to Matt and getting back to where we're headed, but you never know. A lot of it's jubilation, some of it's tears, and some of it's silence. It's almost shock. So. But that's one of the perks of the job, no doubt about it.
What did you like about him as a running back, especially in that outside zone?
Yeah, we thought he could really press the edge. He's an aggressive downhill runner who can press the edge, stick his foot in the ground, and get north and south. He had a lot of explosive plays, and he was a finisher. Once he hit that crease, he seemed to finish. And so those are some of the things we liked about him. He's got a nice build to him, and I think his best football should be ahead of him.
Brian, where do those explosive, how does that explosive plays, or where do they come from when a guy isn't, a 4-4 burner like that? I mean, obviously his 40 time is what it is.
Right, yeah. I think, his play speed would say differently, but I also think, his ability to be decisive, stick his foot in the ground and just hit it, he doesn't waste any time and kind of has a knack for running to daylight. There's some guys, since they started playing are just natural runners. He's one of those kinds.
Brian, from a pure athletic standpoint, last year, I think you made the team in a sense with the athleticism.
I think I've helped the team. I'd like to think that our group has really helped the team. Again, a lot of these guys, last year's draft and some of the guys we acquired, they're coming into this building for the first time, maybe into their second year. So there's obviously an adjustment period, but I'm really excited about the group that we have right now and what our coaches can do with them moving forward.
Brian, aside from Jair and Tremont, how do you feel about what you have at corner? And is that a position where, in this sort of next phase of player acquisition, as veterans get released and things with 90-man rosters being put together, is that an area you'd still maybe like to strengthen at all?
I think we're always looking to strengthen it. I kind of like that room, I do. I think obviously Tremont kind of heads that up with some really young, gifted athletes in that room. There's a lot of guys that got a lot of playing time last year that normally wouldn't have in a rookie season, and so I've always kind of felt if you have the opportunity to play significant snaps as a rookie, you usually get a pretty good bounce into that second year. So, again, I've always kind of looked at we're gonna go have a couple cold ones tonight, come back in the morning, look up there, see where we're at, and then kind of move on into kind of some of the next phases.
There are a lot of guys
Holman fitting into that group?
I'm sorry?
How do you see Holman fitting into that group?
Yeah, he's a 6-foot guy who ran 4.3 for us. If you know his story, it is one of determination and grit. We liked his aggressiveness on the field, his ability to press and turn and run. We brought him up here, got to know him a little bit better, and we feel that he fits what we want to do.
There are a lot of safeties in this league who run in the upper 4.5s. What does 4.36 do for you back there?
It's like a lot of things. Do you play it? And he plays it. And I think that's the thing, that when you have a guy who can kind of erase half the field, you can't throw in the windows, because he's sitting right there and he can go get it. A guy who can close on the ball in the hook curl zones and get to the ball. There's not a lot of those guys, and I certainly think we've added one.
Back to Holman, and you mentioned his story. Excuse me. Does that play any impact at all in drafting a guy? I realize the film matters most, but the fact that he basically wrote his way into a scholarship, does that matter even a little bit?
Absolutely. I think the wiring, I talk about it a lot, how these guys are wired, and there's a lot of adversity in our league, and you have to have enough toughness, mental and physical, to get through it. And so as we go through our studies on different guys, the history of them being able to fight through adversity and their determination, it matters. So yeah.
Ryan, you mentioned Matt LaFleur's scheme when you talked about Williams. You talked about Mike Pettin a couple of times. Now that you look back on this draft in the last couple of days, how much interaction with the coaching staff and the specific ideas of your coaches factored into these picks?
Yeah, they're always very heavily involved. It's really more in the preparation phases than anything else. They're a huge asset in this UDFA recruiting period that we're kind of in right now, or just kind of finishing up. But yeah, I think it's we have a lot of new coaches that we're all trying to get to know and kind of and see how each other scouts and evaluates and. They've always been involved, and they always will be. I think it's an important piece for us. At the end of the day, our scouting staff does an excellent job of kind of getting the information we need to make these decisions, and I'm really proud of those guys sitting here today.
Brian, you have a lot of undrafted players that make up the roster, and a handful of them are significant contributors. How many players do you try to target now after the draft is over? And what's that process like trying to sell Green Bay when you're trying to sell against 31 other teams?
Yeah, so obviously our roster limit is 90. So, after we came out of the draft, you're at a certain number and you're trying to kind of fill that 90. We've had such significant history here with undrafted free agents. That's kind of what we sell. One of the unique things about our franchise, because we don't have an owner, if an undrafted free agent comes in and he's beaten out a 5th round pick or a 4th round pick, there's no owner that's going to come in and question that. If that guy wins the job, he wins the job. So I think that's unique. We don't have that owner that may do that. So. And again, we've had, you look at our history, I think we had, 5 guys on our roster last year that were UDFAs. So we think there's a lot of opportunity here, and history shows that. I think at one point we were the most, snaps in regular season games over a 10-year period than any other team in the league. So, Ted was obviously that was very, very important to Ted, and it's been very important to us as well.
Brian Devontae had, I think, 73 more catches than your number 2 returning wide receiver. Are you pretty content with that young group, or could you use a veteran maybe to come in and play with those younger wideouts?
I'm really content with the 3 guys we drafted last year. I think they have huge upsides. I thought they took really good steps last year. Obviously, Geronimo coming back, is kind of a veteran guy stepping into that role. And I do like some of our guys that are kind of competing for some spots there as well. So we're not, it's not like we wouldn't add one if we thought that the right guy was there, but I like that group.
Speaking of contentment, do you feel content with what you might have in tackle depth, specifically on the left side?
Yeah, yes. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know how to answer that. We got some guys that have a lot of experience playing it, and got an All-Pro there, so I'm not too concerned about it.
Brian, you have 2 first-round picks on this team since 2011. How badly do you need Gary to hit?
Again, we took him there for a reason, so we certainly expect him to. But it's a team game, so it's we need our team to get better, and we added these players with the expectation that they're going to improve our team. And
what do you like about Kingsley Kiki?
It's kind of been a theme up here, but certainly like his versatility. But he's got a lot of twitch as a pass rusher. We really thought, as an inside 3 technique player, that he had a chance to really get it into some gaps and create some pressure. Really active athlete, sideline to sideline athlete. So,
a decade ago, you guys drafted Raji. Is the league just gone to, not that you couldn't use a guy like BJ, but is the league just gone to that athletic guy now, or athleticism beats size every time?
I wouldn't say that. I think it's just a lot of it is, you need it all. You got to be able to hold the point. You got to be able to play with power. Certainly, as a pass rusher, athleticism is an important part of that. But no, I don't. I think you need it all. You need some that can do, play with power. You need some that are better athletes. At the same time, you get a guy like Kenny Clark can do it all. So.
What's the level of confidence you guys have right now in Jason Spriggs after an up and down couple seasons?
I'm confident in Jason. He's when he's had to play, he's played well for us. He's going into his 4th year now, so this is a big year for him. I think he's going to have some competition, which is good. And I think he'll push some people in front of him. So he's a versatile guy too, and he's been here, so we can count on him if we need to.
Brian, I don't know if we'll get a chance to talk to you before next weekend, but with Ted going into the Hall of Fame here, what are the emotions going to be like for you seeing him? I don't even know if he's going to be here.
Yeah, he should be here. He was here a couple weeks ago. For our whole group, he's been such a mentor to all of us, and a bunch of guys will come in from around the league that he's been mentors. So he's really, obviously well-deserving of being in the Packer Hall of Fame, and most of us believe he should be in Canton. But yeah, there'll be some emotions. He means not only as a mentor in this profession, but also just as a friend. He's a really unique individual who cared about the guys that worked for him. And so yeah, it'll be an emotional time, but it'll also be a celebration. He's been contacting all our guys throughout the weekend, and I think, having the couple beers after at the end of this thing is what'll probably miss the most. You know what I mean? So, he always would say that when he was done with this, he'd never watch it, but I think he watched the whole thing. So we'll see. He may not admit that. So.
Are those beers in your garage, or do you have those?
It's a secret spot I can't talk about, but Miller Lights.
You're you learn from your mistakes. You're 2 drafts in now, right?
Right.
And you've spent your entire life or your adult life scouting players.
Mm-hmm.
How would you scout Brian Gutekunst and his GM draft approach? There's not a lot of small school guys. Seems to be a lot of fast guys. What can you kind of give us your own self-scout of what you think when you draft?
Yeah, I mean, I'd hope I'm not getting pigeonholed and people can start, I hope I'm not giving too many tells. But I think the thing that I'm most, obviously we always go back and self-assess and how we're doing things and our process. That's really important to me. But I think just the group dynamics and the way we've gone about it from year 1 to year 2, just really kind of, thrown in there in January with the change that we had last year, and you're just kind of go. And then to change a lot of the process parts that we did this past year going into this year, just really feel good about how the group came together and gelled, and just we got better from year 1 to year 2. I really feel that, and kind of excited where our group is headed.
How did you change your process? What kinds of things did you do differently?
Yeah, no, it's tweaks that you guys probably wouldn't care about, but just some of the way we go about covering school, some of the way in our grading system, some of our the way we structure our meetings and things like that. So just kind of looking to get better. Obviously, technology plays a big part of that as well, and we added some people. So it was, but like I said, it's one of those things where we had done something for a long time a certain way, and to kind of tweak it, you're always kind of waiting to see how that's going to happen. But just really excited about kind of where we're headed as a scouting staff.
In the 7th round last year, you took Donnerson, who was super athletic, and
Right.
this year with Summers, it's kind of a similar thing. Is that what a 7th round pick is? You take a guy who can obviously play, but has some really superb measurables, and take a shot at it.
Yeah, I think I don't think I'm the only one, but I think you're looking for guys who have upside who can improve. There's, and certainly the athletic traits become part of that. So I think it just really depends on the player. I think it's a little more coincidence than anything else, but you're always looking, okay, this is where he's at, can he get better? Because when you get to this level, you're going to have to improve or you're not going to survive.